Two friends are sitting in a car, stuck in traffic, arguing about something that doesn't even matter anymore. One of them says something factually wrong. The other one knows it. And instead of letting it go, he corrects him. Not rudely, just accurately. The first guy pushes back. Now it's not about the fact anymore. It's about who's willing to back down first. 15 minutes later, they're still going. Voices louder, neither one listening, both convinced they're right. And here's the strange part. Even if one of them technically wins the argument, he loses something bigger, because the other guy isn't thinking, wow, he was right. He's thinking, why does he always need to be right? This happens everywhere. In relationships, at work, in friend groups. Someone wins the argument and quietly loses the room. Robert Greene noticed this pattern long before social media turned every disagreement into a public performance. He called it winning through actions, never through argument. Because arguments rarely change minds, they just change how people feel about you. Think about the last time someone convinced you to change your opinion in the middle of a heated conversation. Can you even remember one? Probably not. People don't get argued out of their beliefs, they get argued into defending them harder. There's a woman named Elena who worked in a design studio. A senior colleague kept dismissing her ideas in meetings, cutting her off, talking over her. For months, she tried to explain herself. She'd interrupt back. She'd list reasons. She'd get defensive the second he raised an eyebrow. Nothing changed. If anything, he dismissed her more, like her explanations were proof she was insecure about her work. Then she stopped explaining. Next project, she didn't argue for her idea in the meeting at all. She just quietly built it. A working version, polished, ready to show. She dropped it in the group chat the night before the next meeting with one line. Made a version to see how it feels. The room reacted to it immediately, not to her explanation, to the thing itself. Her colleague went quiet, because now there was nothing to argue with, just something sitting there already working. That's the part people miss. Words invite debate, results don't. The same pattern shows up in relationships, just wearing a different outfit. A man kept telling his partner he'd changed. He'd bring it up whenever old doubts resurfaced. I'm not like that anymore, you know that. The more he said it, the more it sounded like something he needed her to believe, not something that was simply true. She didn't argue with him about it. She just watched. And slowly, without him narrating it, without a single defensive speech, his actual behavior did what his words couldn't. Showing up, following through, being consistent when nobody was checking. She never brought up the old doubts again, not because he convinced her, because he stopped needing to. Even social circles run on this same quiet law. There's always that one person in a friend group who has to be right about everything. Movies, politics, who said what at the party last week. It doesn't matter how small the topic is, they need the final word. At first, people engage, then they stop. Not because they agree, because arguing with that person costs more than it's worth. And slowly, that person becomes the one whose opinions people just nod at in the moment and completely ignore later. Meanwhile, there's usually someone quieter in the same group, someone who rarely argues, rarely insists, rarely needs to be proven right. When that person disagrees, everyone actually stops and listens, because their opinions aren't cheap. They don't hand them out just to win small moments. Notice what earned that silence, not volume, not being clever in the moment, a long pattern of not needing to be. People learned over dozens of small interactions that this person only spoke up when it mattered. That's not charisma, that's math. Scarcity applied to opinions works the same way it works with anything else people value. That's the trade nobody tells you about. Every time you win an argument by force, you spend a little bit of trust. Every time you let your actions answer instead, you save it. Robert Greene saw this as one of the sharpest lessons in the pursuit of influence. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most respected one. People don't remember who technically had the correct answer in a disagreement 6 months ago. They remember how being around that person felt. You can be right and still lose. You can stay quiet and still win. It depends entirely on what you're optimizing for, the moment or the relationship. Being right convinces no one who wasn't already halfway there. Being undeniable convinces everyone. Prove it by being it, and you'll never need to prove it by saying it. Law 9, win through your actions, never through argument.